Today's video is brought to you by Blazer Raid. Blazer, thank you. Well, in true Zendikar fashion, it seems to be a bunch of Lands Matter commanders. This isn't on purpose, believe it or not. Omnath Locus of Creation versus Omnath Locus of Rage, Phylath World Sculptor, and Obuun Daya Ancestor. I assume Obuun is how you say that. Anyway, we have a one-lander, so we're going to mulligan. Okay, get ourselves into a Green Sun Zenith. I think I've taken the Birds of Paradise out of here, so might have to go for, I don't know, Sakura Tribelder or something. Anyway, we'll keep that one. We get into our Lotus Cobra. That's really good. We just need... yeah, I'd like to be able to play some fetches with a Lotus Cobra, get some fetches out of the graveyard with a Crucible, so yeah, can't complain about this hand. Then back round to our turn, we get down an Amulet of Vigour maybe. Well, we don't have any tap lands, we can save the Amulet of Vigour I think. Let's just try our Lotus Cobra. Then a bounce land from the Naya player. And we are playing against friends of the channel, by the way, Mattisman on the Obuun deck. And then a couple of patrons, Billy Kills playing Phylath. And Valdrieg is on Angry Omnath. Surprisingly, no early plays from our opponents. They're obviously in it for the long haul. I think we should get down Oracle of Daya here. Not necessarily going to play an extra land. I'll probably save landfall until we've got our commander in play. Then we can get some free spells going. So we play Oracle of Daya and get a fetch off the top. That's really good. Might as well play that. And then certainly not going to shuffle away a Sylvan Library. So let's just drop the Amulet of Vigour. Wildwood Surge from the Naya player now. Enters with X plus counters on it. Whenever one or more counters is put on another non-Hydra, this gets a plus counter on it as well. Now Beastmaster Ascension from Billy Kills. No prizes for guessing what their plan is with this. Might have to save the Green Sun Zenith for a Reclamation Sage. And then Val just continuing to tap out and pass. So keeping his full grip of 7. We will drop our command tower. We will make white. And we're going to go in for our commander here. That will allow us to draw into the Arcane Signet. We will get a Wooded Foothills off the top. And that will gain us 4 life. It will also allow us to add, we'll just add green. Not entirely sure what we're doing yet. And then there's an Angry Omnath of our own. Do we want to draw into that? I'm not sure I'm too bothered about that, to be honest. So let's just crack the Verdant Catacombs here. I think I might go for Ramunap with this Green Sun Zenith. Throw out the Temple Garden. And no point paying for that because we've got the Amulet of Vigour in play. And this will add some mana to our pool. Both with the Lotus Cobra and with Omnath. Let's just add green again. So we definitely want to get down the Sylvan Library. And I think we want to... yeah, I think we want to grab the Ramunap. So let's put 3 into X. And Green Sun Zenith will shuffle our library away. And now we've got Valakut on top, so if we can make all of our lands into mountains, then that will start popping off as well. Let's throw out the Arcane Signet. And then we can go like that to our opponent, and like that. Just attack for 2 on the 2 wide open players. Now we could crack the Wooded Foothills, of course, in order to hit all of our opponents for 4, but I don't want to shuffle that Valakut away. It'd be good to get another land into play here with Azusa or Exploration, something like that. But we're doing pretty damn well considering it's as early in the game as it is. Now the second commander of the game coming into play, Obuun Daya Ancestor. And they decided to not turn a land into a creature there. Now kills, going for Broken Bond. Destroy an artifact or enchantment. Put a land into play from your hand. And they went after our Sylvan Library there, so we need to find another means of card draw at this point. And now a Green Sun Zenith of his own from Valdrieg. X is 3 here. And they went in for Courser of Kruphix, which means they can play lands off the top. They've got Jardi Lifestrider at the moment. And we've got another means of card draw there, Omnath Locus of the Royal. Unfortunately, don't think there's a means of drawing into it. So let's just play the Valakut. And that will be untapped. Yeah, Billy Kills taking us off a turn there. Thanks to taking us away from the Sylvan Library. Would have been able to get some card draw going with Omnath this turn if it wasn't for that. Anyway, we'll play our second land. And that will add some mana to our mana pool. And then we'll just have to wait another turn, I think. Yeah, all that mana and nothing to do with it, unfortunately. So let's just swing in at kills with everything. We'll hold the Omnath back. Now, Mattisman's commander putting a plus counter on itself on landfall, which means that the Hydra gets one onto itself as well. Then casting a Grateful Apparition, which is an evasive creature. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, proliferate. Now cracking the Bant Panorama, which will get them into landfall again. And they put a plus counter on their evasive creature this time. And again deciding not to make one of their lands a creature. Let's see if they want to give us a potential trade. They are potentially giving us a trade. I don't know if they're going to have a means of putting a counter on something, or using a giant growth type effect with this. They're probably just offering up the trade here, but we'll take the 4 anyway. We can easily gain life in this deck with our commander. Now Migration Path from Billy. Search for 2 basic lands, put them in tapped. And now we head over to Val's turn. They now have Multani Marrow Sorcerer on top of their library. Will currently be a 19/19. Then playing out Embodiment of Insight. Got that in my, what is it called? In my new Ashaya deck. Will give land creatures vigilance. And make land creatures as well. So with that, we keep our board intact until our next turn. We can draw into that Consecrated Sphinx here, I think. Whether we'll be able to play it or not, I don't know. I think we will be able to. So let's go for Omnath Locus of the Royal. And we've got 2 elementals in place, so let's take the flyer out of the sky. And actually, as much as I'd like to draw into the Consecrated Sphinx next turn, yeah, we need to make landfall in order to make that happen. Yeah, let's just shuffle it away. We'll be able to start drawing cards with Omnath at least. Throw out a Triome to untap with the Amulet of Vigor. And now we've got the Green Sun Zenith back on top, so I think we might go for Tatyova. And we'll put a plus counter on Omnath Locus of the Royal with its own ability. Spread the threats around a bit. Make some mana with Lotus Cobra. And now Cloudstone Curio on top. That's in here for if we want to recast our Omnath and get the triggers going again. It does pay for itself if we can make landfall a few times. Don't think we're quite there yet with that. So let's shuffle again. Grab ourselves the other Triome. Both of the Triomes are mountains, so not only do they act as Tri-lands, but they count towards the Valakut. And that's more triggers, more mana from our commander. And getting to Field of the Dead, unfortunately, for our opponents. Alright, let's use this mana to go in for Tatyova before we make any lands. And we will grab ourselves the Tatyova. Can only get green creatures with the Green Sun Zenith. Yeah, let's play a land. Gonna keep drawing cards with both Omnath and Tatyova now. Yeah, and we just draw into a bunch of lands. That's okay, as long as we can make multiple land drops a turn. It's taking them out of our library anyway. And then we get into an Elemental Bond as well, so getting into card draw, that's good. Probably cast that this turn, actually. And then it's another land on top, yeah. So let's just continue to set up a little bit. We'll go Felwar Stone. And we'll go Elemental Bond as well. And we're going to be seeing Phylath next turn with a bunch of with a bunch of plants, so I'm actually, much as I don't like to bully someone, I'm actually going to pile on a bunch of damage there while I can. We've got a big blocker to hold back, so yeah, I'm thinking Pilly Kills will be able to come back from this in no time with all the plants that are going to come down. So knocking them down to 18. Didn't really want to trade my commander into the Embodiment of Insight or this commander here. Maybe could have offered the trade there. Roiling Regrowth from Mattisman will get them landfall twice, sacrificing a forest, which of course triggers landfall twice. Then playing another bounce land, and getting rid of one of the tap forests that they just got rid of. Now this is a 7/7, as is their Hydra. 5 cards left in hand for them. No trample, thankfully. But they are now deciding to make their mountain into a creature. So do they have a buff spell? Yeah, they're coming in at us. Coming in at us with 2 things. They might have a means of getting rid of our Omnath. But let's just go for the Wooded Foothills anyway. This will put a plus counter on Omnath and we can block probably the Hydra. And that puts a bunch of triggers on the stack. So we'll make some mana here. We'll gain some life from our commander. Gain some life from Tatyova. Draw a card from both of those. And it untaps the Shock as well. We went for a Steam Vents. And we've got a Nature's Law on top, so plenty of means of making landfall at this point. Let's see if they can buff their Hydra at all. We might lose our Omnath here. Nope, our opponent loses their Hydra. We take a hit for 7, but we'd already gained the 4 life, so yeah, quite a negligible bit of damage for us, thankfully. And then out comes Phylath. No haste on the board, thankfully. They don't have an anger in the bin or anything like that. But next turn, we're going to have to really worry about this Beastmaster Ascension. And now we know that our opponent's... And now we know that our opponent's got that big Multani in hand. They can also play this tap land off the top with the Courser of Kruphix, but instead deciding to play a land out of their hand, so they will gain a life and they have the option of making one of those lands into a 3/3 with Vigilance if they want to. And then they go in for the big Multani. That's a 22/22 with Shroud. Now luckily the Multani doesn't have any kind of evasion yet, but it may well get evasion from the Gruul player. Plenty of means to give it, well, trample's the main thing we'd worry about. Another fetch off the top for us. We've got a couple of means of shuffling things around. Let's start annoying our opponents with Field of the Dead. And I think we'll start putting the odd plus counter on our commander as well. The Omnath of the Royal is pretty big as it is. Oh, that's good. And now we've drawn into the Felidar Retreat as well. That goes really nice with our Zombie Horde. So let's get that into play first before we make landfall again. Felidar Retreat is landfall and it can make tokens on landfall, or it can put a plus counter on all of our stuff and give our stuff vigilance. Now we're going to draw into the Wayward Swordtooth on landfall. So let's... yeah, we'll draw into that just because it's an extra land. We can make one more after this if we go for the Wayward Swordtooth. Plus counter on our commander. And then... oh, and actually I've done it in the wrong order. Felidar Retreat should go on the stack first, and then everything else can resolve before it. Not to worry, we'll get a plus counter on all of our stuff anyway before we get another zombie into play. Stack that wrong. Just means one zombie misses a counter. Now let's go for the Wayward Swordtooth. And that draws us a card with Elemental Bond. It'll allow us to play a land as well. Yeah, let's just play the Polluted Delta. And we can draw into the Fierce Guardianship. So Felidar Retreat goes on the stack first with the plus counters. Then everything else can go on in any order. We get into another board wipe in Hour of Promise, so that's good. I think I would quite like the Emiria Shepherd in hand just in case someone wipes the board. But we can't draw into it at this point, unfortunately, because we've run out of lands to make, so let's just drop ourselves a Sakura Tribe Elder. We'll keep Rada in hand just in case we lose, the Oracle. Maybe we just need to start piling on damage at this point. We can shuffle away the Emeria. We do have means of searching for creatures. Yeah, let's just make landfall again with Nature's Law. It's one less card to discard at the end of the turn as well. So we'll get another tap land in Breeding Pool into play. And there we got Crucible of Worlds in hand, which is good if we lose Raminap. Get a mana doubler as well. And then there's... yeah, I mean, maybe we just set up a Genesis Wave for next turn. So let's get down the mana doubler. And we can leave the turn there, I think. That will buff all of our stuff as well, so... yeah, I think we're looking pretty good here, aren't we? All of our stuff has Vigilance, so we are feeling alright about swinging in. Let's go with a 12-12 into Matismen. And another 12-12 in there as well. And then we'll throw in a bunch of stuff towards Phylath to maybe keep them from swinging in with as many plants. They're not as frightening now with all of our plus counters, but yeah, I think I still want to encourage them to not swing in with as many creatures at us. We're successfully encouraging Billy Kills to block with some plants here. Blocking the Tatyova, that's a 7-7. The 6-7 Raminap, the 6-6 Oracle, and the 6-5 Lotus Cobra, so I don't think anything's getting through to them here. And I think we'll leave it like that. If we're desperate, we can make landfall with 3 of our fetches. We've also got it on Sakura Tribelder as well, if we haven't run out of basics. I actually forgot to count. I think we've got about 10 basics in the deck. So we'll just discard some lands. We can replay them next turn if we want to. Morasa Root Grazer now, the Fussy Eater. A 2-3 with Vigilance, and you can put a basic land from your hand onto the battlefield, or return a basic land you control to its owner's hand. A good landfall enabler. Matisman decided to take a big hit there, by the way, and went down to 8. Didn't actually look at how they blocked. They decided to keep their commander in play and take the big hit. The only thing keeping us swinging in at Val is this huge 21-21 at the moment. Don't think that'll be an issue next turn, though. Unless one of these players can wipe the board. Return of the Wild Speaker from our opponent. That is going to have them draw 5 cards. And then it's a Gruul Turf, which will allow them to put 4 plus counters on one of their plants. They can't make an additional land here, so they won't be able to play the land that they bounce. An interesting thing you can do in Lands Matter is you can play the Gruul Turf or any other bounce land, and it can bounce itself. So it means you're not going up on mana with regards to lands, but if you want to be guaranteed at least 1 landfall trigger every turn, you can do that with your bounce lands. Anyway, managing to keep the Beastmaster Ascension at bay. Now, what's on top of Val's library? That is Magmatic Force. At the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 3 damage to any target. Pretty good if you can manage to make it stick. Pretty slow at throwing around lightning bolts, though. Oh, it's at the beginning of each upkeep, isn't it? Oh, that's different then. Yeah, throwing lightning bolts around every turn is pretty good. I'm just wondering if this is... might be Elemental Tribal from our opponent. Makes sense in Omnath decks. Anyway, this one is coming in at us. Can they give it Trample? Maybe they can double its power. There is a fairly new red card that doubles power. Well, hopefully we can counter something like that with Fierce Guardianship, so let's just block with our weakest zombie. Even if they lay on Trample here, we're taking a big hit, but not enough for us to worry, I don't think. Yeah, so just losing a zombie, they didn't have a combat trick for us there. Then playing a land, triggering the Embodiment of Insight, gaining a life from the Courser of Crufix as well. They don't bother turning a creature into a land because it's only at the end of the turn. Yeah, it's until the end of the turn that the creature gets deanimated. Now going for Omnath, Locus of Rage. I'm not going to bother making any more zombies at the end of the turn. Argument to be made for us doing that, but I would like to draw into the Genesis Wave. I think we might be able to finish the game off here. Rishkar's Expertise is nice card draw. Yeah, so let's just make landfall a few times. We'll go for the Plateau. And then Valakut is starting to trigger now, so let's see if we can get some stuff out of the way. We'll get rid of that thing, or we could have just bolted Mattisman directly actually, couldn't we? Should have done that really. Elemental Bond draws us a card from... didn't think of that actually, that's a good interaction. Field of the Dead throws out 2/2s that are 3/3s with Mirari's Wake. So that triggers the Elemental Bond. And oh, that's good, we draw into the Prismatic Omen. So that makes all of our landfall into mountains. So yeah, let's just get that into play before we do anything else. I was going to go for the volcanic island and the mountain out of the bin, but we can make landfall an additional 2 times with each fetch, which makes for more lightning bolts. So let's go Flooded Strand, which will trigger the Valakut. We'll point that directly at Mattisman. Should have done that with the last one as well. Make mana with our Omnath this time. And we get into Exploration. That allows us to make another land this turn. Get into the Dryad of the Elysian Grove. That's basically another Prismatic Omen, although it's landfall again, isn't it? So, you know, I'll have to play a little bit of Solitaire Magic for a little while. Hopefully all of you don't mind, and hopefully our opponents don't mind either. I'll be as quick as I can. And that draws us a card from a creature entering. We'll play another fetch. Bolt Mattisman again. And we do have a Chroma's Memorial in here, so I'm hoping that we can get that off of the Genesis Wave. I'm sort of remiss to cast Genesis Wave because it's a solitaire game enough as it is. And I don't want my opponents to sit here through all these triggers, because we will get lands off of the Genesis Wave. And get into Gaia's Cradle as well, so let's... we don't have another fetch, do we? So let's just drop the Gaia's Cradle. And Mattisman goes down there, by the way. Try and get some creatures out of the way. We'll get rid of a plant. And then we get into Azusa as well. I'm thinking we're going to be able to win without this Genesis Wave. If it was a paper game, I'd just play the Genesis Wave for the fun of it and give you all something fun to look at, but I think it's just going to be too obnoxious on Magic Online. We get another couple of landfall triggers, so we'll play these out of the bin before our graveyard gets exiled. And I made the same mistake as I did with Mattisman. We'll point the Lightning Bolt directly at Billy Kills instead of getting rid of their creatures. Play the Forest and do the same again. And then we've drawn into Harrow. We've got Skyshroud Claim, the 3 visits. We've got fetches. We can make more lands. We've got a Boro as well for more landfall. We can make another land apparently. Yeah, so just make another land. We'll go for a fetch. Bolt Billy Kills again. Should have done that the first time and they'd be out at this point. That's my mistake. But I think we've got our opponents here. Just looking at the number of plus counters on all of our stuff, I think, yeah, we should have our opponents. We just need to send a couple of zombies in over here. Yeah. So let's not bother. Well, we can play Lightning Greaves, can't we? Let's play Lightning Greaves. And we can have another zombie swing in with that. Let's just tap a land and go for the Chromatic Lantern as well. Just for the sake of using up our mana. And then it's Lightning Greaves onto a big zombie. I'll put it there. And then it's everything going in at Val. Going wide on them, except for a couple of zombies. They can go in at... Actually, we'll need 3 zombies in it. Billy Kills, won't we? Because they can block 2 of them. Yeah, so apologies to my opponents for the solitaire game. I think this game was just a victim of little to no removal. We were kept off of a turn with the Sylvan Library being blown up, but apart from that, we weren't really held up all that much, to be honest. I think we were just luckier than our opponents with draws as well. Like, we got our card draw taken away from us, but then got straight into Omnath, and then we could search up for the Tatyova. Drew into the Lotus Cobra on turn 1 as well. So yeah, I think we did get some good draws this game. So there we are. I'm off to play another game with my opponents, and hopefully it won't be a solitaire one this time. Be sure to let me know what you think of the new Omnath Locus of Creation. I know it's running roughshod all over standard at the moment. Hopefully you all enjoyed it in this Commander game. Be sure to subscribe for more content just like this, and I will see you all in the next one. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.